Greetings, good people. Greetings. I love you all. Welcome back to the Hot Potato platform. And the hot potato today in my chest. What is it about? It is about a very topical subject. She's topical, toxic, controversial. But I'm not here for controversy. I'm not here to pick a fight. I'm not here to insult other people. If my view differs from you according to your own living experiences, please forgive me. That's my perspective. It's not thus says the Lord. So don't come out guns blazing and try to bite my head off. I'm just sharing with you my opinion. And if you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, let's do it respectfully. If we disagree, let's disagree respectfully. And may superior logic prevail. Jumbo Africa, I greet you all. It is my wish that I'll be able to greet you in our African customs, in our African way, so that you know that I'm proud and I'm happy to be an African. It's not by coincidence, it's by design. I was created an African, and that's how it is. So I'm happy to be here. The issue I want to talk about is racism. Woo! Racism. You know, when you tackle this subject, as I've said, it's controversial. It's politics. It has got a lot of connotations on it, most of it which are not good. But I'm here to give you my perspective. So there's what I call, when I'm really, really under pressure, when someone puts me under pressure, and when someone really come up with the concrete loaded with evidence, I may change my perspective to baby racism. There's what I don't call it racism, but when I'm under pressure, I call it baby racism. Then there's what I call real racism. That's being racist. What is being real racist? So there are insults that we get, and I call them insults, where someone makes some monkey chants. Somebody offers you a banana. Somebody, what do they do as well? All sorts of things that people do to us, especially when they're of different race, trying to insult us, to provoke us. And then we quickly jump and say, oh, that's racism. That how could you? Those names, the N-word, the K-word for Southern Africa. Some parts of Africa may not know it. So when you look at all these things, I feel like, come on, isn't this a diversion where we are not focusing on real racism, and then we waste our time and energy and fight over small matters? Because to me, racism is a system. It is a system, guys. It's not insults. It's a system designed to deprive. It's a system designed not to integrate. So if you happen to live in an area that you are all of the same race, then you should zoom over your area and say, racism, I see you. You are here, you are present, because it cannot be by chance that coincidentally we one race live in one area. Can't be. If you are at school and the type of education you receive is inferior or is different to other race, then you should zoom over the sphere of your education and say, I see you. There you are, racism. I see you. Okay, guys, when you are a small player in the economy as a race, to me, that's real racism. You go like, yeah, I see you there. So where you are deprived as a race, where you are not allowed to integrate as a race, where it's still weird for you to procreate with another race or marry or whatever, then you should know. I zoom over that sphere that you are feeling that and say, I see you. You're still existing. Because nowadays it doesn't exist in our statutes. It's not in the law. It is in our way of living. It's in the society. There are things that we think is normal, but that's where it is subtle. It is smart and still existing. So let's normalize when someone call you the K word. Come on, I'm not so sure about the history of all this, but I like what the people of America have done, where you can call them the N-word and the N-word, and they call each other that. a nigger, a nigger. That's it. The whole thing that was supposed to be a real big issue and fight over it, you just simplify by calling yourself that. And if you check the history of these names, I know that what I'm saying might be different to your living experience. You might view this differently. I understand. I accept it. I'm not claiming here that I know everything about it. I'm just sharing with you my view. This is how I see racism. I see it that there is what, if I'm under pressure, I call it, if I'm not under any pressure, I don't call it racism to insult. I call it insult. You are insulting me. You're calling me a name that I don't like. Okay, so that's an insult. But when I'm deprived as a race, when I'm not allowed to integrate as a race, when someone advocates for separate development, separate, that's when I go, I see you. Because there is a race that is scared that it might go into extinction. And for it to survive, it has to come up with these political policies and positions and machinations behind the scenes for its own for it to exist. Yes, for it to exist. Because that's the issue. If Europeans came to Africa as a way of migrating, better opportunities in Africa, let's go. I promise you by now, because in Southern Africa, the official records is probably the settlers came 300, 400, 500 years ago. So by now, there would be none of those races here. They could have been engulfed, gobbled by the bigger race. That's what happens natural, not killed. I'm not talking of killing, I'm talking of the race being swallowed by the bigger race. So the threat that this might happen and they're going to extinct, they then come up with policies that separate us, that makes us fight, that makes us other race deprived of opportunities, and so on. So to me, that's real racism. You can insult me all you want. I'm not going to take that as racism. I'm going to take it as insults if I don't like it. For example, in Africa, where I come from, we have what we call totems. So some of the totems are monkey or baboon, sokomrewa, mukanya. That's the totem. Shumba, lion, the elephant, indlove. That's the totem. So if you think you're insulting me and you call me a monkey, and my totem is monkey, my brothers and family and friends, my ancestors, I worship them and say, monkey, here I come. That's not an insult to me. I'm not saying to you, to me. That's not an insult. If it is, well, that's an insult if I don't like it. And that's racism, again, if I don't like it. But to me, that's baby racism. That is, if I'm generous, that's baby racism. We are being diverted from the main issue about racism to a small matter that you can resolve by insult back, or no, I'm not advocating for violence, but just report them to the police anyway. Okay? So that's it. So we have totems that, so if I've stayed with neighbors and friends, they call their child, monkey, come here, monkey, and they come. So why should it be a real issue that you lose sleep? Lose sleep if you wake up as one race, living or congregated in a small area, or deprived of an opportunity, or getting inferior education because as a race, that's when you go there. I see you, race. I see you. So yes, let's normalize using these names. The word K, the K word that was used in Southern Africa or in Africa as an insult to black people, it's actually, it must be Arabic. It's Arabic, meant for non-believers. That's it. It doesn't specifically say black people. How we got tricked and cheated and end up believing that it's meant to insult us, I don't understand it. So that's my 2 cents, guys. I love you a lot, and I want you to agree with me or disagree with me, and I would see it in the comment sections. If you've got a better version, please, let's share. Love you a lot. Thank you. Goodbye.